Okay, so let me just start. Um, oops, what's going on here? Can everybody hear?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, lovely. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. Why isn't it moving forward? Okay, there we go. Um, we saw last time, right, that this is the layout for the Surya Chakra, which is always sort of in this direction, and they are fixed. So it's like Mesha is the Aries is always in the center, and then it follows suit, and each of these basically is quite, it'll come quite intuitively once you start get going, because this is a fixed zodiac. So and because it looks like the rising sun, when I say the fixed zodiac, as in it doesn't move like the western one, so you don't change the positions of the signs here, they remain absolutely fixed. And what changes is, like, for example, your ascendant, it can keep moving around, and from there we place the planets in the signs and then see how far away they are. And it is a little bit of initially it's a little bit uncomfortable because you have to count and stuff, but it does get a lot easier and it gets very intuitive, especially when you see that these are the four central. It's like the cross will always be movable signs. They will always be like the cardinal signs, as the westerns would call it, the cardinal signs, and the next to that, the fixed will always be towards the edge, right next to the movable signs. And then the third one will always be the dual signs, the Dvishwa Bhava signs. So that is a layout, and as I said, it will get very intuitive as we go along. Now, today, what we are going to do is we are going to cover some of the characteristics of the signs, and then we will look at a little bit more of the chart, as well as we look at very briefly at the all the lunar months, because that is really important for you to know, the distinction and why they are called. And the names, ideally, you would want to kind of memorize. And in a way they are kind of they segue into the concept of fixed stars or nakshatras, and I will tell you why it is a natural progression towards that. So anyways, here the Aries, the signs that I have marked in green, they are all fire, and sorry, they are all movable signs, the ones which are marked in green. And movable signs in Vedic are very rajasic. That means they are constantly, it's a lot like the Western signs, they're constantly on the move. They want things to be done. It has an initiating energy about it. It's very fundamental. It's very rajasic, as in they are constantly, if you want to start something, ask someone with a preponderance of planets in the cardinal signs or the movable signs. They are called the nothing but the Chara Rashis. Chara means to move fast, and Rashi is the sign. And they are male, this Aries, and yeah, I have marked out even they alternate. So the even signs are all female signs. And then we come, so you please note that very because that will help us to kind of get a very good idea about what signs are, when it comes to ferocity and things like that. Certain signs have a certain characteristic, they're very male in their view. And this is also applied to let's say, if you children and things like that, when people are pregnant, and who's going to be born, boy or girl, and things like that. It's very sort of helpful from that perspective as well. Now, the other thing is that it is, of course, we all know Aries, the first sign is ruled by Mars. You know, it's Mangal, the ruler. And again, I'm going to make a distinction. We are going to today also cover the specific colors of the zodiac. Now, please, there is two different things. We already covered the colors for the planets. Remember last couple of sessions we did the colors of the planets, right? But we are going to today also do the colors associated with the signs or the Rashis, and they are distinctly different. Okay. So don't think like, oh yeah, it's ruled by Aries, so it has to be red, and you know, so that's it. That's not going to cut it when it comes to the signs, because the signs have a very specific color. And again, this knowledge of a specific color will come into play when we go like for remedial measures, you know, when if we want to kind of have, like, let's say we want to be competitive and we want to win at something, and whether it's exams or something, then we will want to bring in the sign which is in our fifth house. Let's say your fifth house is Virgo, you know, so you will want to wear more of shades of gray to be able to sort of you know, battle and, you know, activate the fifth house. So in a way, all these things, that is how it works. Yeah. If you want to strengthen the lagna or your ascendant, you wear constantly those colors, you know. Ideally it's good to wear colors of your rising sign or your moon sign, as well as your ninth house and the fifth house, you know, because ninth house is very auspicious, and so the trinal houses are very auspicious. So here, as we see that the Aries sign is ruled by Mars, and we already know that, and it is male. The gray ones, if you see, the gray ones are all fixed signs, and the gray ones are also the gunas of the gray signs, which is the fixed sign, is very tamas guna. We already did what is tamas guna, so I'm not going to repeat that. Yes, everybody knows that. Yeah. And if they don't, then they need to go back and have a look at some of their older slides, you know. But the tamas guna is very predominant. It's kind of like the fixed signs are ruled by you know, Shiva. It's got a very sort of like a stagnant, very kind of fierce, destroying energy about the fixed signs. So and that is definitely tamas, and they are like fixed. There's a remarkable fixity about it. And so that's same with Leo, same with Scorpio and Aquarius. Then we come to Gemini, which is dual signs. Now Gemini is also not just you know, it's the first air sign, and it's also just like Taurus is the first earth element, and as is Aries the fire. There's another distinction I want to bring in at this point of time, because we are doing the first you know, the elements as well. Now Aries has got this fire. Among all the fire signs and among all the signs of the zodiac, actually it is by the uh, much contrary to the Western belief, it actually Aries is the only one and only royal sign. It is not Leo, but it is Aries. And that will come as a big surprise to everyone. But Aries is actually the real royalty in terms of, you know, all the significations of the royal sign as we attribute it to Leo. It's actually Aries. And also because the sun exalts in Aries. And remember, the wherever the sun exalts, because it is a sattva planet, sattva star, and that is sort of very important association, and that is one of the big reasons why Aries is it's a, you know, royal sign. And the other reason, of course, is because it's the first initiating energy, so that is combined with that, there's also that. Now we all know that Taurus, its ruler is Venus. Now as we go along, we will also occasionally we will also take Moon as the ruler of Taurus, because the Moon's exaltation sign, or Mool Trikona, which we will do next time about home, Mool Trikona, and various other signs. What planet is at home in which sign? What is its office? Which is nothing but Mool Trikona? What is its, so those things we will cover next time. But for the moment, it is important for you to understand that for Taurus, the other ruler also is, Moon. And Gemini is air sign. It's dual in nature. It's Sattva Guna. Again, all the dual signs, if you notice, the ones in red are all Sattva Guna. It's a total absolute Sattva, because they are ruled. And you would say, why Sattva? Because the rulers of all the dual signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, the core rulers of these signs are Mercury and Jupiter, the main primary rulers. And that is the reason why they are Sattva Guna. The other thing is that occasionally, well, not occasionally, but we do take, remember I told you that we will do this next time, but Virgo is a little bit of an exception, and Pisces is a little bit of an exception. Pisces has got Jupiter as its ruler, as well as Ketu. And Virgo's Mool Trikona, or the office for Virgo, Rahu has his office in Virgo. So it's got like a combination of two rulers, Mercury and Rahu. Again, we will do this next time. It is very important. I'm just giving you like a little heads up for you guys. The other thing is Cancer, the fourth sign, which is a first water sign, and it's initiating again because it's a movable sign, and it is Rajas in nature. Even though the Moon, now there is again a little bit of, it's like a subtle distinction I'm going to make, because you may well ask that, oh, Moon is a Sattva planet, Graha, so is Surya. But how come then that Cancer should then be a Sattva Guna? But actually, the Moon is by nature very, even though it's a Sattva planet, but the sign of Cancer can be very sort of like, because it's a cardinal sign, it's a movable sign, it's very, very Rajasic, it's always wants to achieve, it's full of desires, it wants to keep going ahead. And that's the same thing with Libra and Capricorn. Libra is the great grand marketplace. That is the, in Vedic, the marketplace is everything to do with markets and, finances and, in terms of like buying and selling and trading, all comes under Libra. So Libra, you would say, is, yes, it is about relationships, but it's more about the business aspect of relationships. It's more about the trading, buying, lending, selling, the big marketplace. Remember the sign of Libra. In Vedic, it is the same. It's the scales. Where would we use the scales? In the medieval times, like in ancient times, the scales were used only at marketplace. Yes? So that is why the Libra is associated with the marketplace, and it is a very male sign, very Rajasic, and of course Venus is its ruler. And Virgo has got kind of a dual nature, and it is a feminine. Remember, it's a even sign, so it is a female and a female sign, and its ruler, as I said, is Mercury as well as Rahu, the north node of the moon. And The Leo, which is the second in line with the fire signs, is again fixed, and it is tamasic in nature, and it is a male sign. Now again you would say, oh, it's tamas, but it's ruled by the sun. The sun is a sattvic graha, but actually there is a distinction to be made. When Leo is different from sun per se, the sign of Leo is what the guna of it is tamas. Now you would ask, why would that be? It's because even though the sun is tamas, but because, think of it as this way, the king, he has to kind of rule, he has to kind of even kill sometimes, even have to kind of give in to some of his desires and be covetous in nature to, mark his territory and all that. And all of that leads to kind of like acquisitive tendencies. It doesn't calm you, you're constantly under, like, feeling like you're under attack. And that's why the tendencies or the gunas for the sign of Leo or Simha Rashi is tamas guna. Now we come to the Scorpio. Now Scorpio is of course associated with the natural eighth house. Next time we will also look at the associations of all these signs and map it to the actual the house, the normal Kalpurusha, which is like starting from Aries all the way to all the way to the 12 houses. But right now we'll just focus on the gunas and the fixity. And it is of course a water sign, and it is fixed. Again, it is tamas by nature, and it is an even sign. And this is again going to be very different. Its ruler is Mars, Mangal, and Ketu. That's dual rulership. So does Aquarius, is the third of the lot in air sign, and it is again tamas in nature because it's ruled by Saturn and Rahu. So for people, we don't use outer planets, we use the dual. We have Scorpio for Mars and Ketu, where the Westerns will have like Mars and Pluto, and Aquarius is Saturn and north node of the moon, or Uranus, and here we have Saturn and Rahu. So then we come to Sagittarius, which is a fire sign, and it's definitely dual in nature. The thing about dual signs is it's kind of, it can dip in terms of, it can initiate sometimes, and it can also a little bit like the cardinal signs, as well as it can stay still and fixed, just like the fixed signs. So that's why the dual signs kind of are able to tweak both the worlds, and that's kind of a very important characteristic of that. It's definitely male, and it is ruled by Jupiter. Capricorn is an earth sign, and the last of the earth signs, and it is even more relevant because it has connotations. If you see the symbolism of Capricorn, it is the celestial Makar. It's called the Makar, literally, and it is the vehicle for Mahavishnu. It's kind of like a great, Mahalakshmi. It's like a great beast, with multiple heads and sort of like, and it lives in swamps as well as on land. And it is sort of has associations with also the goddess Ganges, and in a way that is also her vehicle. And you would say, why such a like a gargoyle like creature would have like Lakshmi and Mahalakshmi and sort of goddess Ganges associated with it? And the reason is that it is a constant reminder of our inner kind of nature of our covetousness, of constantly wanting to achieve more and more, the constant activity. And at some point we have to let go of all of that to in order to evolve. And that is why let go of our some of our material instincts, and that is when we let go of it in Capricorn, and we arrive at Aquarius, where we are intellectually kind of in a certain, on a different plane altogether, even though it is ruled by Saturn, but it is a lot to do with the celestial cosmic knowledge. Aquarius is a very important sign in Vedic, as all are, but Aquarius is has also the importance is that it has a dual rulership of Saturn and Rahu. Now, next time we will also go that there are 4 signs, which is very interesting. That Virgo, Taurus, Virgo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Pisces. All these signs have 2 rulers, and we will go into the reasons why and things like that, because it'll be very interesting. And Aquarius again is a tamas sign. It's fixed. We know that it's a male because it's number 11 odd sign, and it is, the rulership is Saturn and Rahu. Then we come to Pisces, which is the last of the zodiac. It's like the celestial bin, but it's actually one of the most sort of auspicious signs. It has associations with Vishnu, Lord Vishnu direct, and it is also associated with the Matsya avatar. Matsya is the fish, and often the depiction we already know there of Pisces, it's like the 2 fish going in opposite directions, and it is definitely a water sign. It's depicted, the great grand oceans are its domain, and it is a very sattvic sign. The world's and all the ancient knowledge and knowledge base comes under Pisces. Sorry, excuse me. Comes under Pisces, and it's definitely ruled by Jupiter, right? And as I mentioned, the other ruler is Ketu. So far, so good. Hello.
Yes.
Any questions?
Not for me. All good.
Okay, lovely.
A quick question.
Yes.
It seems like there's an overlap between the Gunas and the idea of cardinal fixed mutable. Is there a distinction? They seem to have similar qualities.
Yes, of course. They do actually have similar qualities. I mentioned that earlier, that the fixed signs are tamas guna. If you see the signs in gray are tamas guna, and the fixed sign falls under the triplicity, and it falls under Lord Shiva. The destructive quality about it. It doesn't want to kind of move, it's kind of wants to remain the same, doesn't want to challenge the status quo at all. Versus, let's think about it, if you take the cardinal signs, which is the Chara Rashis, the movable signs, all these movable signs, they are Rajasic. That means there's a constant flurry of activity. They're constantly thinking about things and initiating and doing, and there's a constant flurry of activity. So they are united in that. Their tendencies are very, very similar. And the same holds true for the dual signs, because dual signs are united in by the sattva guna. That means they can do both. So they have a lot more control over, if the signs were like people and living, then you can say that the dual signs have a lot more control over themselves. They can do both. They have the comfort of kind of being able to wing both. Does that clarify your question?
Yeah, I think so. I was trying to see what the distinction between the two ideas was, the two concepts, the two categories.
But there are three categories.
No, I mean, there's the type of sign, in Western we call it, what do we call it? Modality. And then there's the gunas. They're two different categories of ideas. And I was trying to figure out what's the difference between the main concept of each. Am I clear or not?
Not really, because here, as you see, because I'm kind of, are you talking of the elements here?
No, I'm sorry. In your
Yeah.
slide, you have a column called mobility and a column called gunas, correct? And I was trying to figure out what's the difference between the idea of mobility and the idea of gunas. How are they distinct concepts since there's so much overlap?
I guess when I say mobility, it really literally is referring to a kind of a state of being. They have kind of like a hoarding mentality, the fixed signs. While the dual are kind of a little bit more relaxed, they can do both. While the gunas is a little bit more to do with the inherent quality associated with these signs. So I'm not quite sure if, well, in a way they do link up, because if you notice that the sattva guna, which is all the dual signs, have a lot more flexibility. I think the word flexible is what I would use with all the dual signs. And that means that if you have a lot more control over yourself, that means, you're kind of not quite stuck with your fate, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It's kind of, one is a tendency and another one is a state of being. So it's a little bit kind of different,
Okay.
Yeah?
Let me read about more and think about it some too.
Yeah, it'll
Thanks.
be to broach on it again.
Yeah.
Okay, so now here we have the Rashis, the Mesha, Vrishabha, Mithuna, Karka, Simha, and I've given, I don't know, there's been a little bit of a mistypo here. Anyway, I've given the dates for it, so do have a look. And the corresponding color, as well as I've given it in the box here. Now, this is very important for you guys to know, okay? That when you think of Aries, the association is with Munga. Now, Munga is a red coral. In Munga, these in italics is all the Indian names for it. Now, the red coral, of course, all shades of red are associated with the sign Aries. So, these colors, and I repeat again and again, these colors are very specific. They are not to be like, I feel like putting some kind of a, sort of like a dark red for Aries. I'm not quite clear about if dark red would do, maybe. But when I say red for Aries, it does mean red and all shades of red, as well as orange. So there is a little bit of flexibility, but there's not a lot of flexibility, as we will come to the other signs, other Rashis. Taurus is the associated with it is diamond, the gemstone, and preferably white diamond. Please note the color for Taurus is not pink, not dark pink, none of that. It's white. It's very specific. Okay, there is no and I'm repeating it again, because this is very important for you guys to know, because this comes handy, as I said, in remedial measures a hell of a lot, because each sign, if you wear consistently a certain color, that particular Rashi is going to get supremely activated, and that's where the remedies come into play. Gemini or Mithuna is green emerald, apple green, bright green, super beautiful, like rich emerald greens, or all hues of green, but please not like totally like jet black green, not those kind of greens. Maybe I would say I would probably go till khaki, but I'm still not convinced of that. I'm not sure. But I would say, if in doubt, always select like deep greens, and beautiful bright greens as well will come under Gemini. And of course, green emerald is its color, it's its gemstone. For Karka, it is July 15 to August 14. You can take the dates off, just take a photograph. And again, the color for it is light pink. Please note, light pink. There are people who one can get away with using silvery white, but as long it has a little bit of a hue of pink in it, I think that much leeway is allowed. But you cannot have it like bright pink or a super gray. That's not going to work for Cancer. And the gemstone is pearl. Leo is again ruby. You can get away with off-white ruby, maybe like a pale light color ruby would do too for Leo. That's not a issue. But again, the color for is yellow, but this is like a pale yellow color. It is not sort of like, it's kind of like a light yellow color. It's almost like a pale lemony yellow. It's not like a dark orange or anything like that. It's a pale yellow color. That's the color associated with Leo. Virgo or Kanya is gray emerald. Again, you get these very dark khaki color or olive greens, which are almost bordering on grays. That is the color of Virgo. It's very, very huge amounts of gray and shades of gray, but not again light gray, not super light gray. So those are the shades of Virgo. And Libra is diamond. And the color, this will come as a big surprise for a lot of people. The color is black. For Libra, the color is black. And not black diamond, please to note. The color is black. It's a misprint here. It should have been around here, the color black. And the diamond, of course, it's stone. And so here it is. It's not quite black, but it's here. It is. I made it like charcoal black, but I would say even like sort of charcoal black would be okay. But again, not pinks or mauve or any of those colors. Scorpio is a bright yellow. As you can see here, it's like a shiny bright yellow. That's the color of Vrishchika, and the stone associated is same as for Ketu, the south node of the moon, which is cat's eye, Lesanya. It's there's also another name for it. It's called Vedurmani, and it's sort of like quite a. It literally looks like a cat's eye with super clear, sort of a gray to hues of. It look like a marble with a line in the center, literally like a cat's eye. So that is the stone associated with Scorpio. Sagittarius is again a sort of like a yellow color, but again there's a distinction between the yellow of Sagittarius and the yellow of Scorpio. The yellow of Scorpio is a super bright. It's like, whoa, it's like the psychedelic, as you can see where my mouse is, it's like a psychedelic yellow color, while the one for Sagittarius is a very muted sort of yellow. It's almost like gold. It's called, oh, what do they call it? Antique gold. That's the color for Sagittarius, antique gold. So, which is like yellow, but it has this kind of like a beautiful, sort of like a ancient look to it, as if it's like period look to it, and that is called almost bordering on little bit of tinge of green. When gold becomes very dark and kind of quite old, it almost looks a sort of greeny yellow, and that is a color for Sagittarius. And then we come to Makar, which is Capricorn, and shades of blue will do well for it. All shades of blue, pale blue, but not very pale. If you are going to go for pale, then I think it'll go more into Pisces, but kind of like a bright blue color, turquoise, dark Neptune blues, hues of blues will be beautiful for Capricorn. If you want to activate that, if you're Capricorn rising, that is a beautiful, beautiful one for you. And its stone is blue sapphire. In India, we get a cheaper variety. It's called the Neeli, but it's called Neelam as well. But Neelam is a lot more upmarket. I think Ceylon and Thailand have very beautiful varieties, very exclusive varieties of blue sapphire, which is called nothing but Neelam. And in India, a cheaper variety is found, which is called Neeli. And even in here, you find not the lab created one, but like a what do they call it? A turquoise. I forget, a blue tourmaline, or just experiment and Google it, because it's like a pale color blue stone that would also do if you're looking for sort of Saturn afflictions and things like that. But before making decisions on the stone, please be very careful. Yeah. Aquarius is Kumbha, which is Hessonite is the stone, which is called Gomer, and its colors are variegated. So anywhere from like bright psychedelic, shiny, sort of purples and huge hues of blues and purples and blacks, all of that will come under Aquarius. And Pisces is Meena, and its color is colorless, as in like literally the color of the crystal. If you think of the sea, it's kind of like colorless. The sea water, the water color of water is literally colorless. It takes on the qualities of what's or the base of it, or the reflections from it. So literally crystal is the color. So I would say a little bit of off-white, it would will kind of mimic the color of crystal, and that's for Pisces. Or like a pale yellow will also do. And its stone is Pukhraj, or nothing but yellow sapphire. Again, before you venture on to wearing these stones, please get in touch, because it's quite it's not as easy as wearing your birthstone. Okay, so anyone, any questions? No? Okay. So let's continue forward. So here we are. As you see here, we did last time, and I'm again going to repeat, and I'm going to do a few charts here. If you see my mouse here, this is, this is the South Indian chart, and this is the North Indian chart. This is a South Indian Jupiter square. Ignore the Om, Haum, Sa, Jum bejas, and this is a sun chart, and this is the you know, the Venus one, the North Indian as they call it. Now here, Jupiter and the Sun are fixed. Absolutely memorize the signs. They go like this, in this direction, anti-clockwise, while the South Indian goes clockwise. So literally, that's how it happens. And the last sign is Aries. So Aries and Scorpio are in front of each other. Taurus and Libra, both ruled by Venus, are in front of each other. Gemini, all the dual signs are the four corners. Here, the dual signs are in the third corner. So 1, 2, 3. Then opposite that, this corner. Then the corner, the last corner, and then the second last before it stumbles into the main cross. The cross is the movable signs, as you can see. That's the main thing. So if you memorize it this way, this goes anti-clockwise, the South Indian goes clockwise. Now my recommendation to you guys is, because you guys are just beginners, to stick with 1 or 2. Don't attempt mastering all 3. It's good to know all 3, but there's no point, you know, it'll lead to further confusion. So if you stick with this and the Surya, I think it will be very, you would have done well. And especially the beauty about the North Indian chart is that it is a lot easier for Westerners to understand this, because here the zodiac is not fixed. Here, if you're Scorpio, Scorpio will be here and then it will continue forward. But in my view, that is a really kind of, you know, it's not a very sustainable way of looking at the chart. My tradition I come from, the parampara I come from, always sort of encourages us not to use this, but to use the Surya one, because it really is, after all, Jyotish is ruled by Surya. It's Agni, it's fire element. So it has to, you know, we should stick with the Sun Chakra. So that's my recommendation. But for the ease, I would just say go with what is comfortable for all of you, you know, and at least manage to get 2 going, or at least 1 going, and then later add to the rest. So here we will see, I already covered that. Now here, I have a little sample chart here. This is a chart of an eclipse, okay, for the 20th December, 14th December, sorry. Just ignore this. I've got the 3 different charts here, at least 2. Now here you can see, what's the rising? I think I want you guys to unmute yourselves, please. Okay. Okay, who's going to, oops, sorry. Let me just see. If you see this chart here, this is Aries, this is Taurus, and this is Gemini. And here, as you can see, the ascendant is written here AS. And from here, then we count 1, 2. So Gemini is the first house. Second house is Cancer. Third house is
Leo.
Yeah.
Leo.
excellent. Fourth
Virgo.
Virgo.
and fifth, Tula.
Libra.
Libra. And look at all this. Oh my God.
Mhm.
What is that?
Scorpio.
Scorpio.
Yes. The 14th December. It's in Scorpio. Sidereal Scorpio. Wow. So we are going to have fun then. So yes. So here, I think it's calculated for London, UK. This is quite an exact eclipse time. So now let's literally look at this, okay? So the Gemini is rising, and Scorpio is all these planets, is where we have the new moon. Now, can somebody tell me what house is this happening in?
The 6th house.
6, right?
Excellent. So now pay attention, if you can, to the left-hand side chart. Here, as you can see, the rising sign is, we have actually physically put 3 here, as in like, you know, the Gemini. So it's like a moving zodiac, a lot like the Western. So the second house is Cancer, the third house is Leo, and so on and so forth. And here we can immediately see that the 6th house is Scorpio, and it's got all these Scorpio stuff. And the 8th house is, the 8th house, guys?
Oh, Capricorn.
Yes. And it's got Jupiter, Saturn. The great conjunction is happening in Capricorn, the sidereal Capricorn, right?
Exactly.
And then the 9th house is Aquarius, and the 10th is Mars.
Mm.
And thankfully, is it retrograde or not?
No.
Not retrograde.
No. So as you can see, there are only 2 grahas that are retrograde. Can you tell me which ones?
Rahu and Ketu are always retrograde.
Yes, of course. I was just having a bit of fun here. Okay. So it's denoted by the line underneath. Okay. So just letting you know. So it's interesting that on the 14 December eclipse, everything, all the planets are direct. Pretty amazing, huh? Really interesting. So that's something for you guys to think about.
But they're in the 6th and 8th, so it looks like another year or 2 of pandemic. Right?
Yeah, but this is a UK one, how it will affect the UK. So for people who are in the UK, please sit up. Hello. Guess what's going to happen? Anyone who is got, you know, moon or sun, or the rising sign or moon sign in Gemini will get affected here, because the rising sign here is Gemini, as is here Gemini. Can everybody see here on the right hand side?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do another one. Okay, let's move to the next. Okay, Anthony.
Mhm. Oh, that's my chart.
Yes.
Yes.
So do you want to tell us something?
About the chart, or?
Yeah, no, just tell us where your placements are.
Oh, sure. Virgo rising with Jupiter in Virgo.
Yeah.
And then the Sun and Mercury in Leo in the 12th. And the Moon and Venus in Cancer in the 11th. And Saturn, Rahu, Mars in Gemini in the 10th. And Ketu is across the way in the 9th, in Sagittarius in the 4th.
Yes. That's very, very strong. Very a huge preponderance of dual signs, as everybody can see. Can everyone see that? Can everyone see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So here, as you can see, what's opposite, what's, okay, can somebody else respond? Anyone? Just take a Nate, or no, Nicole, and then Nate. Let's begin with N. Okay.
What are we
Nicole,
looking for? What are we looking for exactly?
okay, I want you to tell me, where is the 7th house? What sign is the 7th house for Anthony?
This is his chart here. Is that correct? Oh, yes. Okay.
All of them are his charts, not this, and this. Use any
Okay.
one of them.
The sign in the 7th house is Pisces.
Good. And And who's the ruler of Pisces?
Jupiter,
Jupiter.
and that's in the first house.
Yeah, and first house is his rising sign, correct?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Nate?
Mhm.
Hi. Okay, do you want to have a look at the South Indian one?
Sure.
And
I'll do.
and tell me what's in his 11th house. What sign is his 11th house?
So his 11th house would
Now,
be.
here, one sec. Can I just say that don't forget the South Indian goes clockwise. So it's going like this. Aries always begins here. 1, 2, 3. Oh
So
no.
his 11th would be Cancer.
Yes.
Cool.
I think this here it's a little bit wrong. Oh my God, my software. Sorry. It's a little bit thing. Just ignore this chart for the moment. Okay, yes, you're right. The 11th house, as we can see here, let's see it from here. The 11th house is what?
Venus and the Moon.
Good. In
Cool.
Cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And what's fourth from his rising sign, his Lagna?
Fourth from the rising, that would be. Why am I blanking on this? I should know this.
Yeah, just follow my mouse.
Yeah. Let's see.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, Sagittarius.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Which has K2.
excellent. Good.
Cool.
Okay. Who's going next? Christy or Hind? Hello. Christy? No, I think they're sleeping. Oh,
Her mic is her microphone is broken.
My mic is broken. Message.
oh, okay. Okay. Hannah?
Hey.
Hey. So tell me, what's the 10th house like for Anthony?
Anthony, hold on. So I need to get rid of the chat. It's got Sun, Rahu, Mars in Gemini.
Sun? Rahu, Mars?
No, sorry, Saturn, Saturn, Rahu, Mars.
Okay, good. Excellent. See,
Sorry, change the chart for you, sorry.
yeah, good, excellent. So this is how we are going to do it. You know, we are not going to use symbolism. We are going to stick with the Surya Chakra, all this, and that's it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's pretty cool going. Okay, now who else? Anyone else wants to go for do something?
I just have a quick question. Sorry, just
go
one thing.
Go on.
When you asked what was the 11th house and the answer was Cancer, that's what lost me. I'm fine with everything else.
Okay. Okay, look, just ignore this, okay? Because right now this is not, it's numbered incorrectly, and it's
Okay.
kind of just ignore the South Indian for the moment.
Mhm.
Because I think they got a little bit, the settings are not correct right now, and I'm in a bit of a hurry. So let's just focus on these two, okay?
Okay.
This is always Aries, okay? Always, as we, yeah, it's always Aries. And we always go anti-clockwise for
Yeah.
the chakra, always anti-clockwise. So, and so basically his, Anthony's rising sign is Virgo, as you can see. Can you see my big mouse here
Yeah.
and AS here? Yes? Okay. So, and because we are going anti-clockwise, we will begin our count like this. So the first house is Virgo, second, third, fourth, fifth. Fifth, again, because the signs are fixed, this is the cardinal cross or the movable cross signs. The 10th house, this is the kind of like Capricorn sign of Capricorn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, Virgo is in trines with Capricorn, right? So that's the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the fifth house. And the sixth, seventh, eighth, which is 8 is the Aries. 9, 10th, where Mars, Rahu, and Shani is there. And then 11th, Venus and Moon. And then,
Okay.
yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, makes sense now. Thank you.
And then if now this again, like I said, this may be a little bit easier for you guys, but I'm not going to, like I said, I need you guys to be familiar with this chart as well as this chart. Because throughout this course, I am going to use this both quite frequently. And this chart is very, very similar to the Western. So it's a little bit, it's a lot easier, you know. And again here, like this one, here all the signs, you know, the angles are here. You know, if this was your rising sign by default, Aries, then all the cardinal signs are here. It's a fixed zodiac. But here, it is different. You know, it's moving. So here, your rising sign is this. So all the cardinal signs are going to be in this square, in this big diamond, okay? And then it can.
Can I ask a question? In the middle chart,
Yeah.
Venus and the Moon are really in large letters. Is there a reason for that?
No, that's just my software. Don't worry about
Oh, I see. Okay. It doesn't mean anything.
No, it doesn't mean anything. Not at all. No, it's just it has a thing going. Now, we don't have. Maybe we have a minute or two. I think we'll do this next time. But I will just let me just touch upon this for the moment, okay? And I need you to kind of figure out, because next time I will ask which Ritu and what season you're born in. Now, the seasons are a big thing, because each of these, like Ayana, Muhurta, Ahoratra, Ritu, which is nothing but seasons, month, fortnight, and year. These are all the periods of time, and they are ruled by planets from Sun to Saturn. Now, I don't have much time today to cover each one of these, and I'm not even going to, cover the seasons. But what I am going to cover is the first one, the Ayana, which is nothing but the year. Okay, Ayana is kind of like it's half a year. So, for example, and its ruler is the Sun. So this is the zodiac which everybody is familiar with, yes? And Aries, and these are the symbols and signs and stuff like that. Now, here Ayana depicts the Sun. That means the zodiac from the end of Capricorn, I think it's middle of Capricorn, till or middle of July, it covers all these 6 months, and that is called Uttara Ayana, which is 14 Jan, roughly from Karkata to Sankranti. So all the way from Makar Sankranti. Makar Sankranti is nothing but the sign of Makar, and it goes all the way to July, 15th of July, which is nothing but the sign of Karkata, the Rashi of Karkata, which is Cancer. And so this, if you're born under this cycle, you are born under Uttarayana, okay? From 14 Jan to Karkata Sankranti is Uttarayana. That means that is the sun's descent over covering all these signs, this half of the zodiac. And there is a lot of stress given in both, depending on what ayana you're born under, okay? And this is your little homework. I want you guys to understand which ayana you're born on, whether you're born on Uttarayana or Dakshina ayana.
Okay.
And that's number one. Number two is you also have to realize that Makar Sankranti, when it happens around the 14th of, in India, it happens around 14th of January. It is a huge festival, huge. What that means is that the sun has entered the sign of Capricorn. Sankranti is nothing but Capricorn. 0 degrees of the sun when it enters it, of any sign. And Makar is nothing but the sign of Capricorn. And that is a huge celebrations all over the country. It's like marked by like a lot of food and feasting and all that. And there are many reasons for it, okay? But what I would like you to do is, I would like to map and get you to understand which ayana you are born in, and it carries a lot of weight, which we will discuss next time. But suffice to say that I want you to figure out which ayana you're born in, Dakshina ayana or Uttarayana, okay? Okay, everyone
Yes.
here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Yes. So, and also I'm going to give another small homework. I would like you to do, get your chart, and at least so that I can quiz you with, your little placements of planets, which sign it is in and all that, and which house. And then next week, we will do very, very important stuff. We are going to do the aspect, what the signs in Vedic, we have 2 different aspects, okay? Unlike the Western, where only there's a sextile and a trine and all that, we have a distinction between what are known as the sign aspects. That means, for example, let's say Aries. Aries has its own aspect. Forget about Mars, okay? We're just talking of the signs. What sign does Aries aspect? It aspects Leo, okay? So we are going to check next. We are going to do next time that, as well as the aspect of what Mars aspects. Mars doesn't aspect everyone, everywhere. So Mars has specific aspects, so do all the planets. So we are going to cover that next time. Is that okay? Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay. Don't forget which ayana you're born on. It's very important.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bom, ela começou por falar.
By the way, guys, there is a lunar eclipse. I'm supposed to be speaking, on the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse with the lodge. And I think in the second half is Naomi. She is going to be speaking on the etymology of the lunar mansions. So we are going to have a little bit of a lunar fest going on, It's going to be, that eclipse is going to be quite something, yeah?
When is this talk taking place?
It's happening at 7:15. I think I need to log out and log in.
Oh, okay, so it's today. Okay.
Okay? Okay, thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. See you.